This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This morning on Sunrise, a hospital in the Dalles is facing a major problem. They're losing services to transport patients to bigger hospitals in the region. Now, they need a new plan to help patients get the care they need. Plus, a new Korean War memorial opens up in Wilsonville. How it's helping to make sure those who served in the conflict aren't forgotten. Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday. I'm Devin Haskins. So before we get to those headlines, let's check in with Daisy Caballero for a quick look at the forecast.
Hey, Devin, thank you so much. And good morning to all of our viewers. Happy Sunday to you. Showing you the satellite and radar because what we talked about yesterday actually played out. We saw some showers, some drizzle overnight and into tomorrow morning. Within the last 6 hours alone, we have seen some rain cells kind of passing through the I-5 corridor, though we haven't seen any measurable amount of rain. Off of the coast, we're looking at a little gloomy. And then folks over there are actually going to be dealing with some fog, some patchy fog in certain areas, 62 degrees out at Lincoln City. And we're starting to see a little bit of some clearing, some filtered sunshine, if we could say that, for us here in the Rose City, 66 degrees. Last check out at PDX. The rest of your current temperatures are right here, 62 degrees for Tigard, also for West Lynn and Beaverton, Hillsborough. It's a very popular number right now. 66 degrees over in Troutdale, and looking down south just a bit, we're in the mid 60s for the Salem area, 61 degrees once again for McMinnville. So forecasted temperatures for today will be very, very similar to what we saw yesterday. The only difference is we're going to be seeing and dealing with a little bit more of that cloud coverage. So 80 degrees for Portland today, 79 for Vancouver, 77 for Longview. And believe it or not, yesterday was a little bit warmer than we anticipated. We got to 84 degrees here in the Rose City. We're expected to jump into the 90s in the next 7 days. I'll tell you when coming up.
All right, thanks, Stacey. This morning, Portland detectives are searching for witnesses in a fatal shooting at a TriMet Max platform. Saturday, the medical examiner confirmed the case as a homicide. Now, this all happened Thursday night. Detectives say 39-year-old Sean Smeeden died of a gunshot wound at North Interstate in Prescott. There were no buses or trains in the area at the time of the shooting. So far, police have made no arrests. A rural Oregon hospital is facing problems that could have big repercussions. At Venice Health Columbia Gorge recently learned it'll have to find a different way to transfer patients to bigger hospitals. Thomas Schultz talked with hospital staff about the issue.
East of Mount Hood, in the Dalles, a town almost 170 years old, patients at the local hospital have relied on their fire department for quite some time.
This is a long-standing relationship, yes.
It's been going on at least 44 years plus.
To transfer them to bigger hospitals as needed.
We transfer out roughly 400 patients a year.
Soon, that'll change. On April 25th, Mid-Columbia Fire and Rescue alerted the hospital it would soon stop transferring patients hours away to hospitals in Portland and Bend.
Having us transfer patients out of the area creates a strain on the local emergency services.
Bob Palmer is the fire chief. The small station has just a couple dozen firefighters. Some days, there's just a handful of people working, and each transfer takes away at least 2 EMTs.
When those people are gone, they're gone for 5 to 8 hour stints, depending on where they're going, and they're not here and available to serve the community.
Last year, Fire Rescue transported almost 200 people. And those transfers come as service calls rise.
Our call volume has increased from 3,000 over the course of last year to about 4,000.
Our concentration as emergency service is emergencies that are happening within our fire district.
This looks to be one of those things that is going to continue to be a problem.
Robert Dumig is the director of rural health at OHSU. He says issues in the Dalles could become a problem statewide.
So I think it's something hospitals and EMS services are going to have to continue to look at and figure out what that solution is going to be.
And here, staff are still figuring out a solution.
It's a big issue.
That was Thomas Schultz reporting. The hospital is working with Wasco County to find another provider. Until then, Fire and Rescue will continue to transfer patients to facilities that are hours away. Portlanders advocating for safer streets met in Lents Park on Saturday as PBOT unveiled new safety features for bikers and pedestrians. 14 crosswalks and intersection redesign, mobile speed reader boards, and other improvements are being unveiled in the area. Funds from the project come from the American Rescue Plan. PBOT Director Millicent Williams says the improvements are all about keeping people safe.
We want to make sure that families feel safe bringing their children out. We want to make sure that people who are walking their pets feel safe doing so. We want to make sure that people who are using the roadways understand the systems that are in place to ensure that they're paying attention as well.
She adds that PBOT would like to have community feedback on the work they do as major projects across the city continue. A project more than 4 years in the making is now open in Wilsonville. It's called the Oregon Korean War Memorial Interpretive Center, and it honors those who fought in the war nearly 75 years ago. Our Sydney Dorner shares the stories of the veterans who served in the Korean War and gathered to see the new exhibit.
Work on the new Oregon Korean War Interpretive Center started back in 2020. It was funded by donations, including gifts from the government of South Korea. The center features artifacts from battles, interactive maps, and stories of combat from Oregon veterans. Walter Foltz was just 17 when he joined the Navy back in 1950. He headed off to serve in the Korean War with no idea what was ahead of him. This Saturday, he was honored alongside other Korean War veterans with the opening of an interpretive center in Wilsonville, Oregon.
People need to know the sacrifices and that all the families and the 34,000 Americans died to keep this country safe.
The Interpretive Center is next to the Oregon Korean War Memorial and features 24 personal video testimonials with veterans, like Dr. Michael Williamson, who says he still has strong personal ties to the country.
We've helped them economically and to restore their economy and their culture and their military. And I even have a granddaughter that's over there now teaching the Korean kids English in their native language.
It took $190,000 in donations from the South Korean government, veterans, and various organizations to get this center off the ground. Photos of young men and women who served are on display, maps of battles, and even artifacts of weapons used in the conflict. Greg Caldwell from the Korean War Memorial Foundation of Oregon says the center shows a realistic depiction of war from a personal perspective.
That the younger people, the next generation, knows about the Korean War and knows the cost and sacrifice of war.
Governor Tina Kotek even spoke at the opening ceremony in honor of her father who served in the Korean War. The Interpretive Center will now be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays. Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
And it's going to get warm out there this week, and there's a new spot along the Willamette River that's perfect to cool off at. Ashley Grams takes us to the opening of a new swim dock at Cathedral Park.
Under the iconic St. John's Bridge in North Portland, you'll of course find the Willamette River.
I like it.
But now you'll also find swimmers and beachgoers.
Do some swimming and hang out with a lot of people.
This swim dock is brand new, and the beach is now usable thanks to a nonprofit called the Human Access Project and hundreds of volunteers. The cleanup effort started in 2021 when concrete littered the river's edge.
And luckily I was part of the crew with my wife and friend removing 150 tons of concrete along the river.
It was grueling work that continued 2 years later in 2023 as volunteers filled bucket after bucket with debris.
Now getting rid of the concrete is like, oh, now we can use the beach.
It looks a lot better.
A new spot to cool off this summer. Now that's worth celebrating.
And now all of a sudden it's so wonderful to see kids, families, everybody just having a wonderful, great time.
The nonprofit that made this all happen, Human Access Project, says they're not done at Cathedral Park. They're still working to remove old, unused pilings from the beach. Ashley Grams, KGW News.
Portland Saturday Market celebrates a big birthday this weekend. The market's been going on now for 50 years. Saturday, the market hosted a birthday celebration at Waterfront Park. It included live music, birthday cupcakes, and of course local artists, both old and new.
It's my first year So I'm just kind of branching out and meeting everyone, and the community is so awesome here. Like, everyone's so friendly and accepting, and like all of the vendors have been giving me awesome tips about how to sell and interact with people, and I've made a lot of really good friends. It's been awesome.
I feel really proud to be a part of this, and I think a lot of the vendors are as well. You know, it's a big membership, and every single person is valued, and I think they're all super excited to be here, just like myself.
And if you missed Saturday's party, don't worry, celebration continues throughout the rest of the year.